Beautiful. Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome again to the Corona Spotlight 2020. Saturday episode here. Today we are going to join Karen Joy Fritz, evolutionary coach, and talk about creating a business that actually aligns with who you are, and how people tend to not do that and how to correct it. So, without further ado, let me introduce you to Miss Karen Joy Fritz, evolutionary coach. Hi, Karen. Thanks for
Hi,
joining us.
Gail. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited about today's conversation with you because this is so timely when it comes to this. Because there's a lot of people right now that are getting notices that yeah, they're out of work, and the company that they used to work for isn't even sure that they're going to survive this shutdown, this
Yeah.
quarantine. So now is, the best time ever to start a business, and why not start something that authentically aligns with who you are and who you were
Yes,
created to be,
please.
as opposed to just creating another job that you resent and hate doing, right?
Right, right.
So tell us a little bit about how you got into this first of all, and then I want to talk about what you're seeing out there right now. So
Yeah.
how'd you get into this?
I graduated from the corporate world back in 1990
Wow.
and have had my own businesses since then in several different fields, doing different things that I enjoyed. Um, some of them didn't work. Some of them have continued to provide income for, decades. And so I've tried a lot of different things. And what happened was left in one of the first waves, and then there were the other waves of layoffs. And people would come and say, Karen, what do I need to do? Karen, how do I do this? And I found myself continually drawing the same circles and arrows, right? So it just evolved naturally because people were asking. I cannot hear you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
What are the what kind of things are people bringing to you right now? What misalignments are you seeing?
I see misalignments come from two primary places. One is somebody sees online the one right way, the way to make $1 million, right? And it'll say something like, you must have an online course. And they're the kind of person who thrives on interaction. Well, if you try to put that into an online self-paced course, they're going to end up bored,
Yeah.
right? Or
Yeah.
or you must have a blog and put out content and post on social media 3 times a day, right? And it's the kind of a person who wants to be out meeting with people in public and talking to business owners in brick and mortar, right? And
Right.
it just, if they were to actually build it, it would then become a boat anchor, right?
Yeah.
The other thing that I see is somebody who has already got a business and it's doing pretty well, but it's doing well because they've been working at it for 3, 4, 5 years. And the person who dreamed it up 5 years ago has actually grown, right? So now they've got a business that they built from what they could see then, but they are at a higher level. And so their business is not aligned with who they have become. And
Interesting.
that's actually a really interesting thing because it triggers this sense of, but I made it. Why am I not
When you
happy?
open yourself up to
And that can go into burnout. So the both of them kind of point back to the same thing, but it's interesting different ways to get there.
So, what does it point at specifically? Points when you say points back to the same thing. What is that?
It points back to making sure that your business stays in relationship with who you really are. And who you are is a moving target. Just like the market is a moving target, just like technology is a moving target.
Nice.
It's not that my foundational essence is going to change, But I sincerely hope that the authenticity of my expression continues to expand and expand. And if my business doesn't grow with that, it's going to be like shoes that are too tight. It hurts.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine, and feels like an uphill struggle, and so on. Um, it's
Yeah.
very interesting because since October I've been in transitional stage and building what I thought was going to be, like my full expression in the world, right? And as I started to look a little bit more into that, it's like, oh, I don't want to deal with that part of it. Ugh. And I don't do this is having an impact on me. I'm not having any joy here. I'm not having any happiness.
Right.
What is and I honestly thought that was what my life was designed for, right? And then there was this other possibility that just occurred, like, wow, what if we did this and tapped into this, which actually became the Corona Spotlight. And I have been having so much fun with this and getting to know so many amazing people. And I can't even begin to describe the difference in the worlds. Now, if I could just get sponsors for this, you know,
It does also have to be a business.
yeah, that's so. I think that's a really good question. Can you answer that? How do you merge that which gives you joy with sellability? How do marketability, put it out there to receive money in trade? Because I think a lot of us, especially women, forgive me for the sexist comment, it's just so, but a lot of us is like, what I provide is priceless. I can't set a price on this. And maybe we don't even look at it with that high of a self-esteem. Maybe it's, what I provide doesn't get paid for. So it's an unusual and uncomfortable situation to receive for what makes me enjoy my life. Does that make sense?
I think that's a really interesting concept, that what you provide doesn't get paid for. Um, because if what you provide is just entertainment, I'll tell you, people are paying a lot for Netflix right now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If what you provide is just education, do you know how many people are going to Udemy and Coursera right now? They're tapping into the education that's available.
Right.
And for you to actually be providing the intersection of those two and in a digestible way, I think there might be a group of people that would prefer to have it that way. Subscription, Patreon, so on.
Yeah.
But there's also, as you said, the sponsorship side where you're naturally pulling in folks because you are such a heart-based person, because you are intuitive and actually create these conversational deliveries, right? You're magnetizing a certain kind of person, a people person, a person who cares about what's going on in the world from their heart. And as you magnetize, and that starts to be a self-identifying group, tribe, community, whatever you want to call it, they're going to be looking for specific things, right? I don't care if it's all natural deodorant. I don't care if it is a journal with a pen that is scented when I use it. That group of people actually has some commonality in what they love. And your sponsors would love to be able to connect with the people who want that group of things, right? So as a connector, right, it's like a brokerage almost. Helping
Yes.
people to find what they love, not shit they don't need. I didn't ask if language was okay on this show.
No,
I'm
you're
sorry.
fine. You're absolutely fine. This is the internet. I got no FAC. You're looking down my neck. You can drop the
Right.
F-bombs all day long. I don't care.
Yeah.
But thank you for that. I mean, first of all, thank you for that. I'm receiving the kind words that you're saying about what I'm doing here and the encouragement for that. But I also want to reflect that back out to our listeners. And that's an excellent lesson for them as well. That, do what it is that you love. The people that love those things will, find their way to you. And then there's always somebody that wants access to what you've got. Always. And are willing to pay for that access. And it's just a matter of finding how to funnel that. In law of attraction circles, my friend and I that used to mastermind together, I used to remind her, just think of it this way. All of the money in the world is yours. You just have to switch it from one account to another to be able to access it. So
It already exists.
it does. It does. Awesome. Well, thank you for that. Now, I have my own ideas about this, but what do you see from people as far as how do people end up getting caught up in a business that doesn't reflect who they are or doesn't really fit them?
The stage one, right? When somebody's in their startup stage,
Mm-hmm.
it's usually that they haven't realized what a business is. They've gotten trained and they have their own craft, whatever you want to call it, like master craft at Reiki, or their master crafting at coaching, or their mastery at some level of the thing that they love to do. And they haven't quite realized that craftsmanship is not a business yet. And so there's other pieces that go around it, like letting people know, putting out your lighthouse and saying, here I am. Here's what I stand for. Here's what I'm shining into the world, so people can see it. Mm-hmm. And on the other end, yes, I would love to serve you. Please pay me. The ability to actually ask for the sale.
That's not an easily come buyable thing, is it?
There are a lot of crafts involved. And then once I have the sale, right, I have the money, which is, again, a skill to learn how do I manage my money? Mm-hmm. How do I take care of making sure that I have enough for taxes? Because that's part of it too, right? And so that leap from craftsperson to business owner involves an acknowledgement that I need to at least learn what these things are, right? I don't do my own tax return. I have a CPA, right? Yeah. That's a piece that I can delegate. That's usually the first one.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, when I get that back from the CPA, I check every line according to the numbers that I gave them. I am responsible.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's the piece around, I love working with my clients. I love going in deep, doing that shadow work so that they can be visible, so they're not afraid of money, so that they can ask for what they're deserving. And I have other people that do other parts, right? I want to know what it is. And at bootstrapping stage, you kind of got to be able to do at least the basics.
Right.
Great. I can learn. Learning is wonderful. That feels actually pretty good. Scary, but good. Mm-hmm. The next stage is, wait a minute, doing all those things is taking 80% of my time, and I only have 20% of my time for doing that thing I loved. What the hell happened to do the thing I love?
Right.
I don't love all this other time I'm spending.
Right.
But I don't quite have enough income to be able to hire somebody full time. So I can't hire somebody, but I'm not liking it. And I can't hire somebody, but I'm not liking it. And there's that friction between who I am and who I'm becoming.
Right. That growing pains, so to speak.
Right. At some point, that blossoming has to happen. And you have to say, in order to receive that next level of income, I need help. And it might be, if you're fundamentally an intellect-based person, which I am, I still love people. I can move my body with the best of them, but I process the world through my intellect. I might look at hiring somebody to do the social media piece, right? If I were a heart-centered person, I might hire somebody to take care of the email responders. the tech,
Yeah.
right? And so recognizing of all these pieces, which are least ones my gift,
Right.
which ones either just they aren't getting done, or when they get done, it is so painful, right? Those are the ones to delegate first. And so
Well,
that
I
second
forgive me
stage,
for interrupting, but it just strikes me that right now is the most opportune time for this situation because of the fact that we've got so many people that are at home right now that are like, I really love doing this part, this social media part,
yes,
right? I really love doing back ends of websites. I really love whatever it is, right? And they're sitting at home going, geez, I couldn't do this for one person, but if I had 5 people I was doing it for, that'd cover rent, you know?
right,
So this is a
right.
perfect time to actually identify for yourself, okay, what pieces don't I like to do? And who among my Facebook friends likes to do this? Can we
Right, right.
collaborate?
And I'll tell you, even among, who would like to do that piece, right? There are dozens at least. What you want to do is find somebody who holds the same values as you and has complementary skills.
Right.
Too often, I see people go find their best friend and say, hey, will you do this? Because their best friend's just like them. Well, then you got two people that have the same skills.
Right.
Or they just like go find somebody with, least cost off of Fiverr or something and come to find out like I'm gonna just float it here. I might value precision and timeliness and I want these things back and da 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 da. And this person wants to create the most beauty and consistently misses the deadline by 2 or 3 days so that it can be perfect.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't match and that'll make you crazy in a hurry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just do want to interject. There's some really amazing artists and technical people on Fiverr, but you make an excellent point. If that person's style or what their goals are, what their targets are, aren't in alignment with what your scheduling is and your requirements are and your needs may be,
Right.
then you get what you pay for. You know, it's going to cost the same amount either way, whether it's coming out of cash or it comes out of your time and peace.
Right. And the truth is, we are at the point where we get to create the economy that we want to live in, right? As we choose our co-workers in these kinds of small businesses, we get to magnify our values. I do not ever, ever want to see a mother with young children at home having to ignore those children for 10 hours a day so that she can serve my timeliness needs.
Right.
I was that mother.
Yeah.
My children were either sitting at home with the TV daycare or they were off at daycare 10 hours a day because I had to earn. And I don't want any other mother to miss their child learning to walk. So I, through my business, create an economy in which time is flexible. I will give you this assignment with enough time that you can find an hour a day for 3 days, and that's fine.
Right. And
But
that
I
takes,
get to create it.
yes, and that does take planning on your part,
Yeah.
and the responsibility of creating that space that the job can be done without chaos and
Right.
yeah, that's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. An excellent point for people to put in. Now, how do you find that sweet spot between what you love to do and what you can do and what you can get the people around you to do and income and success? Now, how do you do that without like doing what it is that you love, even creating community where other people can contribute to that,
Yeah.
but having it in such a way that you're not selling plasma to feed your kid or yourself,
Right.
you know,
Right.
or any of those other, panic behaviors that we do when it's like 3 days till the end of the month you know, deadlines are
Yeah.
coming fast.
I'm so here's the thing. I freaking own my definition of success. And for me, that is the ability to have my conditions of enoughness. And I am not interested in what the Joneses are doing.
Awesome.
I'm not interested in keeping up. I keep score in more than one way. Money is not my only way of keeping score. Yes, my bills need to get paid. Yes, I want food, shelter, clothing. Yes, I even want to be able to travel. Yes, I want to have the indulgences. Like my idea of an indulgence is if I walk past a cupcake shop, I shall have a cupcake. And I won't have to go, wait a minute, can I?
Yeah.
Right? But I'm not walking past a yacht going, gotta have it.
Right.
So when I come back to my conditions of enoughness, the truth is, I don't need $1 million business.
Nice.
I don't. I
Nice.
don't. So it's not seductive when somebody puts out there, here's how to build $1 million empire. I'm like, oh, I don't want to run that. So
Yeah.
I own my lifestyle and what my actual needs are. The other thing that I've had to do, and this is going to sound a little weird, I had to get my monetary scale out of the 1990s,
Ooh, interesting concept. Tell me about
right?
that. Yeah.
Once upon a time, if I wanted to go to a doctor, it was $50. And my inner scale is kind of at this point of, oh, if I want to go buy fleece to make something at Joann's, it'd be on sale for $2. I can get that $2 a yard.
Not
And the
anymore.
truth is, the world has moved on.
Yeah.
And so when I think about my pricing, I have to remember, even if I'm not working on $1 million budget, it is appropriate for me to be paid in accordance with what I'm delivering, what the value that somebody else is getting. If somebody works with a coach instead of going into depression and having to go through therapy and then meds and all that, they're going to save money. Mm-hmm. So comparing the value, comparing what I need, and recognizing that, damn it, what I do is I help people stand for their pricing too.
Yeah.
Right? I help people to make sure they're not overspending on their tech systems. So it's not just revenue, it's also the profit margin that I'm working with. And so I am not a high-end pay coach. I've seen coaches that are $1,000 an hour. I've seen coaches, a lot of coaches that are about $500 an hour, $200 an hour. Like, no, that's not the world I want to build. I want to build a world in which individuals can be self-sufficient in creating this economy based on how we be. So yes, I build packages, and yes, there's time for me to do some offline work and them to do their practices and so on. But I'm not looking to be, I don't want to be the top of the line person that's so exclusive. Mm-hmm. Right? I have more the bohemian boutique going.
That fits.
So
Absolutely fits.
yeah, and that's how I measure my success too. Yes, my bills need to be paid, but I'm also looking at how many lives am I touching? Right? Like you doing this, how many lives are you touching? And if you count that number of people, that is also a measure of your success. Yeah. And how does my work impact the planet? Right? My preference, if I'm going to go to another town to do a game night or something like that, I'd rather not fly. I'd rather ride my motorcycle.
Right.
Right.
That's another thing we got to get into is your motorcycle and your game. Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I keep track of how am I impacting the planet? How am I impacting people? And how am I impacting my profits? All three of those are ways to measure, not just one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the things that I just want to throw this out here for people that may be in that absolute position of, transitioning into something new. This is something that I noticed since October when my contract in Scottsdale ended and I started developing going into business for myself. I noticed how much money I was saving from not having to drive in rush hour traffic an hour and a half each way every day. How much less product I'm using on my hair. Well, maybe not so much recently because I have to, get my appearance for this each day. And I don't mind that, but it's kind of funny because most people are just like in their PJs right now. It's been
Yep.
the most consistently I've curled my hair ever. Um, but my point being, you look at your paycheck, especially if you've got younger kids, right? And you go, this is going to daycare and this is going to, lunches and this is, out of the house lunches and this is going to gas for commute and, the time is at a premium. And now that you're working from home, lunches get less expensive, less gas expense, less,
Yeah.
less of all of these other expenses. So don't get too scared if you're not suddenly making as much as you made at the day job. Chances are
No.
you don't need that much now that you're not going out of the house, right? Um,
Yep.
so there is a lot more space for you to ramp up, right?
Yeah. It's true.
So I want to talk to you a little bit about this game that you created. It sounds like so much fun. I wish there was a way that we could, and there probably is, we just need to figure it out. We should do a Zoom call with however many players and do it online. And so
Oh,
people can
absolutely.
see this game because it's phenomenal. Tell me,
It is
tell
so
tell
fun.
our listeners a little bit about it.
Well, it's actually the distillation of the coaching that I have been doing for people to build their own businesses because I had this realization. People know their craft and they often don't really get the business pieces. They don't want to. Like, they don't want to go get an MBA. That's not where their fascination is. And so what I did was I took those business areas and mapped them to parts of the landscape so that your business becomes the ecosystem in which you do your craft.
Nice.
So, for example, I have pictures of, let me just pull one out here because I just happen to have it. So I have pictures there, you play it like tiles, a tile game,
Mm-hmm.
and pictures that have mountains on them are about looking at your strategy and your big picture and what's going on in my business. And then other pictures will have forests and trees. That's about paying your attention to what are my plans? How am I taking action? Right? The forest and the trees.
Interesting.
And then the pictures that are rivers, and these are all pictures from my motorcycle travels.
Nice.
This is about the flow of your essence in the business. Because I found that those are the three areas: strategy, systems, and self. If you have those three in balance, your business can blossom. If you start to get out of balance in any one of the three, it should no worky.
Gotcha. No worky.
No worky.
Awesome. Awesome. So, how many
Yeah.
players play this game together?
Um, Usually when people buy it, they often play it solitaire.
Okay.
The collaborative play is still downloading.
Gotcha.
Um, but when I do game nights, it's usually like 6 or 8 people.
Okay.
And back when we did them live, it would be at somebody's kitchen table.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so beautiful to see as we would go around and people would talk about what was really up in their business, how people got so enrolled in each other's success. It was
That's
just so
beautiful.
sweet. So
Mm-hmm.
sweet.
That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
when I do them on Zoom, I can draw the cards for people and so on. I actually have a separate camera. that I use that looks down on the gameplay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. So where can people get a copy of this game for themselves? Is there a page for it?
There is, in fact, it has its own URL for the page. It's at PathGame.club.
All right. We will put that link in the comments
Cool.
after we post this.
Yeah.
PathGame dot what?
Club.
Club.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, and then there's a Facebook group that you'll get invited to that has like how to play, and there's 6 different games for the set.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Now, also, you have a comic book that you want to give our watchers, our listeners. Tell me a little bit about this comic book.
So a lot of what I do in my actual coaching and helping people in their personal development, I work with a system called the Enneagram.
Okay.
And this is an ancient wisdom system. And it's really about following your spiritual path in your personal growth, which then I say in your business growth. And so I took that and I looked at what people usually do is they've got this great vision, like this is the thing I want to do in the world. And they start building that thing, and they're building, it's really kind of fun while you're building. And then you get there and like, yeah, I got this. This is it. This is the thing I'm doing. And then you start to realize that like, oh, wait, I have to hire somebody. And oh, wait, I need to actually do that. And it's not so fun. And it can tumble over that crest and into burnout, which, I used the term burnout because it was so February. If I had written the thing in March, I just would have said stress, right?
There you go.
But the truth is, when you get in that state, right, you can self-perpetuate yourself in that state and literally just be stuck in a loop. Or you can catch yourself and use it as a stage to grow higher. And so I put together this comic book that goes through each of the Enneagram points and says, when you find yourself in this kind of a stress, here's what your patterning will try to do to keep you looping. And here's your portal that will allow you to break through it as a stage and launch to your next level, which will be your business's next level. So it goes through for each type on the Enneagram in this very playful comic book layout, because I'm a very creative person and that was fun at the time.
Awesome. Well, I encourage everyone listening right now to reach out and to get that. The ticker down at the bottom of your screen shows the web page to go to, KarenJoyFritz.com/burnout. And when I was typing that in, I'm like, that's interesting. It's very interesting. I love it. And I'm going to go get that one for myself as well.
It's fun.
Definitely. So Karen, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been extremely valuable, I'm sure, for so many people who've tuned in. And I
hope so. I hope that each of you go out and get your business running, because the world is missing your piece. We need that.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right. You have a wonderful day, Facebook. We'll see you again real soon. When you open yourself up to actual energy work, makes that recovery progress so much faster. That recovery is possible. You do not have to live as a victim until your last days. You have unbelievable strength, and I know that because you're still here. Do you want to create something completely unrecognizable with your life? I can show you how.